The chef drops his knife when he sees who security is dragging toward the exit. His daughter's favorite customer is being thrown out. Before we dive in, drop a comment and let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy stories like this, be sure to like the video, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and share it with someone who'd love it too. Raphael's is not just a restaurant. It's an experience, a destination, a statement. Reservations booked 6 months in advance, Michelin 3-star rating, wine list worth millions. The clientele includes celebrities, politicians, tech billionaires. And tonight, David Brennan walks through the door with his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie. He's wearing khakis and a button-down shirt. Clean, but simple. Sophie wears a yellow dress from Target. Her best dress. She's been talking about this dinner for weeks. The hostess, Vanessa, looks up from her podium. Her smile freezes slightly. "Good evening," David says. "Reservation for 2. Under Brennan." Vanessa checks her tablet. "I see it here, 7 o'clock. She glances at his clothes again, at Sophie's light-up sneakers. "Right this way," she says, though her voice has cooled. She leads them past the main dining room, past the elegant tables with white linens and fresh orchids. She takes them to a corner table near the kitchen door, the worst table in the restaurant. David notices but says nothing. He pulls out Sophie's chair. "This place is so fancy, Daddy," Sophie whispers, eyes wide. "You deserve fancy," David says, smiling. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Sophie beams. The waiter, Julian, approaches with menus. He hands one to David. Barely glances at Sophie. "Can we get a kid's menu?" David asks. "We don't have a kid's menu," Julian says flatly. "This is a fine dining establishment." "Oh," David says. "That's okay. She can share with me." Julian walks away without another word. Sophie looks confused. "Is he mad at us?" "He's just busy," David says quickly. "Let's look at the menu." The prices make David's stomach turn. $48 for a salad, $85 for the pasta. He's been saving for 3 months for this dinner. Sophie's birthday. Her mother died 2 years ago. David promised her something special, something she'd remember. This might drain his savings, but it's worth it. The general manager, Philip Westbrook, watches from across the dining room. He's built his reputation on maintaining Raphael's exclusivity, the right crowd, the right atmosphere. He sees David and Sophie, the casual clothes, the child's light-up shoes. His jaw tightens. He approaches their table, stands too close. "Excuse me, sir," Philip says. "I need to speak with you." David looks up. "Is something wrong?" "We have a dress code," Philip says quietly. "Jacket required for gentlemen. We should have mentioned this when you made your reservation." "I didn't see that on your website," David says. "It's policy," Philip says. "I'm afraid I can't seat you without proper attire." "I'm already seated," David points out. Philip's smile is thin. "Then I'll need to ask you to leave." Sophie's face crumbles. "Daddy?" "Please," David says quietly. "It's my daughter's birthday. I saved for months. Can you make an exception? Just this once?" "Our standards exist for a reason," Philip says. "We cater to a certain caliber of clientele. I'm sure you understand." The words are polite. The meaning is clear. You don't belong here. David feels his face burn, but he won't make a scene. Not in front of Sophie. "Let's go, sweetheart," he says softly. "But Daddy, my birthday dinner." Sophie's voice breaks. "We'll find somewhere else," David says, though his voice shakes. He stands, takes Sophie's hand. Philip signals to security. A large man in a dark suit appears. "Please escort them out," Philip says. "That's not necessary," David says. "We're leaving." But the security guard takes his arm anyway, firmly. Sophie starts crying. Other diners turn to stare. Some look sympathetic. Most look uncomfortable. David holds Sophie's hand tightly as they walk toward the exit. And that's when it happens. The kitchen door swings open. Chef Antoine Dubois steps out, wiping his hands on his apron. He's a legend. Trained in Paris, articles in every food magazine, celebrity chef with his own shows. He's checking on his tables as he does every night. He sees the security guard, sees David and Sophie, sees the tears on the little girl's face. His knife clatters to the floor. "Stop," Antoine says sharply. Everyone freezes. Philip turns, surprised. "Chef, we're just removing—" "I said stop," Antoine repeats. He walks toward them quickly. He kneels in front of Sophie, eye level. "Hello, little one," he says gently. His French accent is thick. "Why are you crying?" "It's my birthday," Sophie whispers. "But we have to leave." Antoine looks up at David, then at Philip. "Why are they leaving?" he asks. "Dress code violation," Philip says stiffly. "No jacket." Antoine stands slowly. "Are you serious?" "It's policy, chef. You know that." "Policy?" Antoine's voice rises. "This is a child's birthday. Look at her." Sophie clutches her father's hand, tears streaming down her face. "We have standards to maintain," Philip says. "Standards?" Antoine's face flushes with anger. "I'll tell you what standards are. Standards are treating people with kindness, with dignity. This is a restaurant, not a palace." "Chef, with all respect—" "No," Antoine cuts him off. "You will listen. This man made a reservation. He brought his daughter for her birthday. He is our guest. Our guest." Philip's jaw works. "The dress code is ridiculous if it means we turn away a child on her birthday," Antoine says. "You are fired." The restaurant goes silent. Philip's face goes white. "You can't fire me." "I can and I did," Antoine says. "Get out of my restaurant." "This isn't your restaurant," Philip sputters. "I report to ownership. I am part owner," Antoine says coldly. 40%. Did you forget? Now leave before I have you escorted out." Philip looks around wildly, but no one meets his eyes. He storms toward the exit, face scarlet. Antoine turns to David and Sophie. His expression softens completely. "Please," he says, "come with me." He leads them back into the restaurant, past all the staring diners. But he doesn't take them to their corner table. He leads them to the center of the dining room, the best table, the one usually reserved for VIPs. "Sit, please," Antoine says. David hesitates. "Chef, you don't have to." "I insist," Antoine says. "And please, call me Antoine." He pulls out Sophie's chair personally. She sits down, still sniffling. "Now," Antoine says, kneeling again. "It is your birthday, yes?" Sophie nods. "How old?" "7," she whispers. "7. This is a very important age," Antoine says seriously. "Do you know what we do for very important birthdays?" Sophie shakes her head. "We create something special," Antoine says. "Something magical. Just for you. Do you like chocolate?" Sophie's eyes light up. "I love chocolate." "Perfect," Antoine says. "Do you trust me to make you the most wonderful birthday dinner you've ever had?" "Really?" Sophie asks. "Really," Antoine promises. "Your only job is to enjoy. Can you do that?" Sophie smiles for the first time. "Yes." Antoine stands. He looks at David. "And for you, sir?" "Whatever you recommend," David says. His voice is thick with emotion. "Thank you. You didn't have to." "Yes, I did," Antoine says firmly. "This is what restaurants are for. To create joy, to bring people together, to celebrate life, not to exclude people because of what they wear." He returns to the kitchen. The entire staff is watching him, waiting. "Listen to me, all of you," Antoine says. "That table out there, the man and his daughter, they get the best service this restaurant has ever given. You understand?" Everyone nods. "Vanessa," he says to the hostess, "you seated them in the worst spot. Why?" Vanessa shifts uncomfortably. "Philip said to put them somewhere they wouldn't be noticed, because of how they were dressed." "And you agreed?" I thought it was policy." "The policy is kindness," Antoine says. "Remember that. Julian, you were their server. You were rude, yes?" Julian's face reddens. "A bit, chef. I'm sorry." "Don't apologize to me," Antoine says. "Apologize to them, with your service. Make this the best meal they've ever had. Go." Julian hurries out. Antoine begins cooking. He prepares dishes not on the menu, special creations, each one a small masterpiece. For Sophie, he makes a meal that looks like art. Pasta shaped like flowers, vegetables arranged like a garden. For David, he creates course after course, each one more incredible than the last. Between courses, Antoine comes out to check on them. "How is everything?" he asks. "It's amazing," David says. "But chef, this is too much. The bill—" "There is no bill," Antoine says. David's eyes widen. "I can't accept that. Please, let me pay." "The meal is my gift," Antoine says, "for Sophie's birthday, and as an apology. For how you were treated." "You didn't treat us badly," David protests. "But my restaurant did," Antoine says. "That shame is mine to carry. Please, let me give you this." David's eyes fill with tears. "I don't know what to say." "Say, you'll come back," Antoine says, "and bring this beautiful girl. Anytime. You're always welcome." Sophie is eating chocolate cake. Her face is covered in frosting. She's giggling. Antoine watches her with a gentle smile. "You are a good father," he tells David quietly. "I can see it. The way she looks at you, full of love and trust. That is precious." "I'm trying," David says. "Her mother, she passed 2 years ago. Cancer. I'm doing my best to be enough for Sophie." Antoine's expression shifts. Pain flashes across his face. "I lost my daughter," he says softly. 7 years ago. She was 8 years old. A car accident." David's breath catches. "I'm so sorry." "Her name was Isabel," Antoine continues. "She loved to cook with me. Every Sunday we would make pastries together. She had flour in her hair and chocolate on her nose. Just like your Sophie has now." He smiles sadly. "When I saw your daughter crying," Antoine says, "I saw Isabel, and I thought, if someone had treated her that way on her birthday, I would have been heartbroken." "Is that why you helped us?" David asks. "I helped because it was right," Antoine says. "But yes, seeing Sophie reminded me why I cook, why I opened this restaurant. It wasn't for critics or awards or wealthy people." He looks toward the kitchen. "It was to create joy," he says, "to give people moments they'll remember forever, like Sunday mornings with Isabel. That's what food should do. Create memories. Create love. You've done that tonight," David says. "Sophie will never forget this. Neither will I." Antoine nods. "Good. That is all I want." He returns to the kitchen one more time. He emerges carrying a special dessert, a chocolate sculpture shaped like a castle with 7 candles. The lights dim. The entire staff gathers. They sing happy birthday in English and French. Sophie's face glows in the candlelight. Pure joy. She makes a wish and blows out the candles. The restaurant erupts in applause. David wipes his eyes, tries to compose himself. After dinner, as they're leaving, Sophie hugs Antoine tightly. "Thank you," she says. "This was the best birthday ever." Antoine kneels down. "You are very welcome, little one. You know what?" "What?" "You remind me of someone very special," he says. "Someone I miss very much. Thank you for letting me celebrate with you." Sophie doesn't understand the depth of his words, but she smiles anyway. At the door, David shakes Antoine's hand. "I'll never forget your kindness," David says. "Come back soon," Antoine says. "Bring Sophie. I'll teach her to make macarons. Isabel loved making them." David nods, too emotional to speak. They walk out into the night. Sophie chatters happily about the chocolate castle and the fancy food and the nice chef. David holds her hand tight, grateful, overwhelmed. Inside the restaurant, Antoine stands at the window, watches them go. Vanessa approaches carefully. "Chef, I'm sorry. About earlier. I should have treated them better." "We all should have," Antoine says. "This is a lesson. A restaurant is not about exclusivity. It's about inclusion. It's about making people feel special. All people." He turns to his staff. "Remember this night," he says. "Remember that little girl's smile. That's why we do this. Not for money or status. For moments like that." The staff nods solemnly. Antoine returns to his kitchen. But everything feels different now. For the first time in 7 years, the pain of losing Isabel feels a little lighter. Because tonight, he honored her memory. By bringing joy to another little girl. By remembering what really matters. 3 months later, David and Sophie return. Antoine greets them like old friends, takes them to the best table immediately. Sophie wears the same yellow dress. David still doesn't have a jacket. No one cares. Antoine teaches Sophie to make macarons. Her hands get sticky with batter. She laughs the whole time. David watches with tears in his eyes. This is what love looks like, what kindness creates. Antoine catches his eye, smiles. 2 men who lost so much, finding healing in small moments. A little girl who will remember the chef who made her feel special, who taught her that fancy restaurants aren't about expensive clothes. They're about expensive memories, the kind you keep in your heart forever, the kind that remind you the world can still be beautiful, if people choose to make it so. If this story touched you, drop a comment and tell us about a time someone showed you unexpected kindness. Your story matters and might inspire someone else today. If you loved this emotional journey, smash that like button, subscribe for more powerful stories that restore your faith in humanity. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next upload. And share this with someone who needs a reminder that compassion still exists in this world. Thank you for being here and for choosing kindness in your own life.